All right, so no injuries to report. The players are not in the building today, so I have a better idea tomorrow when they get back in to kind of assess where the guys are. Um, very similar kind of what I mentioned yesterday after the game. Kind of feel the same way after watching the tape. So wanted to have an aggressive mindset going into the game. Had two fourth and one opportunities that we didn't convert on, which I still feel strongly convicted in being able to gain a yard in the NFL. And we didn't end up converting there. Obviously, defense did a really good job early in the game of kind of keeping us in it, battling and keeping the flow of the game to a certain extent. Had a chance in the third quarter to close the lead. Did not have Doug report. Scored a touchdown, would have made it 13-7. But again, I was asked a question last night about the effort or the quitting in our guys, which is don't see it all. So we'll continue to keep battling, continue to find answers, and I'm back at work. Questions?
Colleen Kane.
Hi, Thomas. Just with all of the sacks and hits that Caleb has taken this season, how do you feel like he's holding up physically and mentally at this point?
I think mentally he's in a good spot. Of course, he's frustrated like we all are, just from the standpoint of just not getting a result. But confidence isn't shaken. Kind of limited some of those last night. Did have some pressures, only had two sacks. So continue to find ways to find answers to get the ball out of his hands faster and also to sure protection.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Thomas, how would you categorize where your defense is right now? I don't think anybody's given up more points or yards over the last 4 weeks, and acknowledging you've played some pretty good teams, but it still seems to be kind of in a bad place.
Yeah, I think it's just trying to find ways to play together as a unit overall on all three phases, offense, defense, and special team. I think it's a lot goes more into that just than the defense by itself. I think it's us being able to sustain drives on offense to put more pressure on the opponents by scoring points early in the game in particular helps out with that. And so it's continue to find ways to deploy our guys, put them in the best spots to have success, and when we have opportunity to make plays, go make them.
When you go for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory on that first drive, do you think is that any sort of message to your defense about the fact that you feel like you're going to have to score some points in this game?
I think it says less about that, more about, hey, if we don't get it, I still trust our defense to stop them, which they did, and force the field goal.
Kevin Fishbain.
Hey, Thomas. Caleb talked to us last night about how, he didn't expect as much coverage from Brian Flores last night. Um, what was the conversations like as you guys went throughout the game in terms of recognizing the defense and recognizing the ways he had to change? Because obviously you had some more success in the second half. So what was the like between you and him and trying to see what the Vikings were doing and how you guys needed to adjust?
And I think one of the adjustments that Flores made from the first game was bringing less pressure, like you just mentioned, being able to drop guys in the coverage, particularly on the edge, and kind of take away some quick element throws so the ball couldn't come out fast, which obviously forces you to have to hold on to it more if you want to throw it. We had some screens kind of mixed in, which kind of gave us some opportunity to move the ball at times. Some were efficient, some weren't as efficient as they probably should have been, but also staying pretty balanced when it comes to the run game. So, but overall, they are really good defense, well coached, had a good scheme, but we shot ourselves in the foot multiple times with the penalties and not being able to execute when it came down to it.
And one more just follow. What do you like about DJ in the backfield and kind of that wrinkle that we saw last night?
Yeah, I think trying to find multiple ways to get him the ball out in space, make guys have to go tackle him. So you can't, try to always fly this side and make it hard to throw the ball to him. I think just trying to find different wrinkles to be creative, give a defense different looks, and also try to find different ways to use them in motion.
Chris Emma.
Hey, Thomas. Well, I'm curious, what went into this decision to start Karan? And obviously, I know a week ago you had him active as reserve while Larry was inactive. What have you seen from him that led you to have that confidence? And what's that collaboration like with Ryan and making that decision?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about 24 hours before a game starts. So, I mean, it's not a lot of time to make an adjustment with that. But Karan had been getting some rotation behind Braxton. So, I feel good about some of those reps. Obviously, kind of moving forward. And if a guy has more opportunities to practice and have reps with that, you feel really good about his growth and development. And also, it's a tough environment for anybody to make their first start on the road in a loud environment versus defense that rushes the passer pretty good. As far as the collaboration between Ryan and I, we're always do a really good job every day communicating about what's the best fit for our football team.
How do you handle that with a guy who obviously struggled a lot last night about picking him back up and getting him in position to come back from this?
Yeah, I think it starts first with the message that I give myself and everybody else, regardless of what's going on. First and foremost, ignore the outside noise because people have a lot of comments with no solutions, a lot of problems with no answers. And so I have full faith and belief in his ability and who he is as a person. Continue to battle himself throughout the entire night and just kind of find ways to give some better answers at times. We need to be able to help him out from a pass protection standpoint. But to me, about being able to be consistent with the message, to continue to find ways to pour into him, and he'll be fine.
Jason?
Hey, Thomas, what are some specific aspects of Caleb's game that you want him to really attack as far as improving over these last 3 games to finish out his rookie season?
Yeah, I think just continue to do a really good job of just the communication in and out of the huddle. So we have as much time as possible in the play clock to make adjustments, which obviously starts first with me to getting the play call in fast. I think also always understanding how to go through every single call, the day before, the nights before, leading up to a game, so we have some answers if a defense gives you some different wrinkles when it comes to playing man coverage, when it comes to having some pressures, when it comes to some of the empty stuff, and they try to overload us and make us hot. But I think he's continued progressing well. Again, he's a super confident dude, which I love about him, and we'll continue to keep battling.
Pat?
Hey, Thomas, when you looked at the film today and talked to the coaches and players, was there any takeaway on the Kramer play other than he just needs to report? Is there somebody who needs to make sure that happens and to raise their hand if it doesn't?
That's the only takeaway.
Yeah.
He's done it every single time, and he obviously owned up to the mistake, made a mistake, and we'll move on from that.
Alex?
Hi, Thomas. We discussed the Karan Amagaji making his first start, and Tyler Scott finally got on the field, caught a pass the other night. I'm just curious, as the playoffs are not in the picture and you start to look forward, is there any discussion you have with players or front office about maybe getting the younger guys some reps now, focusing on development and turning that page?
Not at all. I think the focus every week is try to find ways to put the best roster together and have the best schemes in all 3 phases and find ways to be productive and win football games.
Jason?
Thomas, one of the things you mentioned last night when we asked about throwing downfield, you said you cannot do that if you don't have protection. So how do you coach Caleb to play the right way and grow when the protection is such a problem?
Well, I think a couple of things. One, the flow of the game sometimes dictates when you have to push the ball down the field, when you don't. We did have a couple opportunities to get some max protection. They did a good job of covering some things deep to short. He dropped the ball off to Swift a couple of times in the flat and play pass protection world. And so I think it's more about just understanding of, trusting the reads, trusting the throws, which he's done for the most part. And contrary to popular belief, he's still making some tight window throws and taking some calculated risks. So to me, it's more about that.
Last question, Colleen.
Thomas, you said last night that you thought that the team was still playing hard, through the end of the game and stuff like that. What are your conversations like with the players just about what they need to get out of the last 3 games when there's obviously nothing to play for from a team standpoint as far as playoffs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's still a ton to play for when it comes to just the overall personal pride, the growth and development, and also your tape is your resume. So understanding that we still have a great opportunity as a privilege to be in this business, and it's not guaranteed. And so trying to find ways every single day to continue to keep battling. I even talked about just the pursuit when it comes to how you deal with adversity, and football is being such a great teacher for life, which I've always believed that, and I always try to use those tools to help raise the level of people, not just as football players, and talking about the roles and responsibilities you want to have in life outside of football. So to me, the more you learn early in life to not run from adversity, the easier it becomes later in life to continue to keep battling no matter what happens in your life. I think when you allow yourself to become a coward through circumstances in this game, it shows up in other areas of your life. So when you have problems with your wife, you run from those problems. You have problems with your kids, run from those problems. So to me, it's still a ton to be able to kind of play for and learn from when it comes to our growth and development as a football team.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Brown.
Thank you, guys.